everybody, and welcome back to The Tea with Crema. My name is Chris. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm joined by my best friend, Emma.
Good morning, America, Japan,
and everywhere in between, which is the ocean. I guess if you go the other way, it's everyone, but it's fine. We did our best. Anyways, today's episode is brought to you by the letter L, as in lunch. And not just any lunch. No. This is school lunch. And let me tell you, I'm sure some of you were just like, and some people are like, ooh. So I am super excited to really dive in because I really think school lunches have changed a lot over time. And I really think your opinion of school lunch is really reflective of when you were raised during school lunches in America. So I know it's a history. We're only going to be leading it from our perspectives, but maybe one day we'll do some research about school lunches historically and just how they've changed over time. Because also food trends. And anyways,
You're getting into it.
Food science is so fun to really get into. Where did fruitcake, which is a very weird thing, meatloaf, the history of where these things came from is just wild.
Spam.
The 60s were a wild time for food. It was truly Cheese Whiz.
What a time to be alive.
All of the food science innovations. But before we get started with our school lunch episode, which will only be for school lunches from the 2000s until now. Sorry, we cut out all of the other times. But Emma, what tea did you bring today?
I brought a tea that I brought on before. It's a puka. It is the elderberry and echinacea. I feel like we've done this as well with me trying to pronounce echinacea with elderflower. It's very yummy, just very light and fruity and all the things. What are you drinking today?
Today, I have a tea from the Witchwood Tea House. I had it a little bit earlier in the week as well, and it's called Good Night. It's a spearmint, chamomile, lemon balm, rose, valerian, and stevia tea. And it was just really... again, if you know anything about the sleepy time teas, spearmint, chamomile are very common. Lemon balm, also very common. And so I think just the rose, the valerian, and the stevia just added a little personal touch to it. So it was definitely a cute, late night tea. Definitely something to easily wind down with.
I like it. Does it taste like spearmint?
No, actually. It's very interesting. I think, honestly, even when they have the spearmint in there, I always feel like I taste the chamomile predominantly. And the spearmint and the lemon, all these other things are just kind of chilling in there. But chamomile, I think, is a really powerful tea.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's get into it with your letter L. So the reason why we did this episode is because I am very passionate about school lunch. Some of my fondest memories in school are lunchtime. I can still think back to elementary school, and I remember where we sat. I remember how I used to try to get out of where I was sitting because my last name was never near my friends' last name and I always wanted to sit next to them. So let's go back. Were you a school lunch person or a home lunch person? That's gonna tell a lot about you.
School lunch for all of it.
High school as well?
Primary school, middle school, high school, all of it. Always school lunch. Forever and always school lunch.
I was also a school lunch person, and I remember very specifically, and I'm not going to name this person because just in case she ever listens to this podcast, there was one child in elementary school who brought home lunch, and I remember looking at her home lunch and being like, I'm so sad that you have to eat a bologna sandwich every day. But she liked it. That was the reason why she ate the bologna sandwich. She didn't like the school lunch. And I was like, but how could you not want to eat corn chowder or beef and bean burritos
or literally anything else?
But bologna sandwiches. But you know what? Love that for you. What was your favorite school lunch in primary school?
Man, primary school was lit. We used to have Frito pie day.
What?
Yeah. Frito pies were really good.
That's
at school for lunch. Frito pies.
That sounds not healthy at all, but also lit.
It was not. And it was also, yes, that. And this was also the same time where my favorite breakfast, because I did get breakfast from school a lot of times too, was cinnamon toast.
Oh, yeah.
Which was just Texas toast with butter, sugar, and cinnamon.
The things that they were feeding us.
It was so. Could you imagine a cinnamon toast breakfast and Frito pie for lunch, and that's food for the day?
Like, so, okay, so, like, break it down for me. So, in Hawaii, we always had, like, we had your main entree, and then you had your fruit, and then you had some kind of side, and then a drink. Was that how it is in Texas, too? Or was it just, like, Frito pie? Y'all didn't have, like, canned peaches or, like, fruit cocktail or anything?
I mean, they did, but like, I didn't really mess with fruit as a kid, which is odd. I know, like, I feel like fruits are like a very common like kid thing, but like, I just didn't.
Were you
I
more
wasn't
of a
about that fruit life.
vegetable kind of person?
I definitely preferred like savory vegetables.
Oh, really?
I hated peeling oranges. I hate eating apples that are not pre-sliced.
Wait, they would just give you, like, the full apple?
They would just give you an apple.
What?
Yeah. Even sometimes if they were sliced, then like,
It was, like,
I don't know,
mealy.
pre-sliced apples that you weren't like, they didn't slice like right then and I was a little bougie with fruits. And they didn't, and like canned fruit is not for me. Canned fruit is not the move. Like what is that? The pineapple and the pear and the cherry mix. Like
the fruit cocktail.
Mm-mm.
That's my stuff right
all
there.
That syrup.
Yum. Ugh. Oh my gosh.
Or they would just like put like a peach slice in the little thing. Nah. So the fruits I was not about. I did eat the vegetables, but I was not about that fruit life.
That is hilarious. Isaac and I go to this one convenience store specifically because they have peaches that taste just like the school lunch peaches. And that was our favorite, like, fruit. Like, I love canned peaches. Honestly, I love canned fruit, if I'm going to be completely honest.
That syrup is just not for me.
I love fresh fruit as well, but yeah, if it'll do. That's funny. Did y'all have milk in a bag? Was that a thing for you guys?
In a bag?
In a bag?
What you mean in a bag? How you put milk in a bag?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, so, in Hawaii, we had milk cartons. And I remember one year, I don't know why it happened, but for some reason, there was like a surplus or an excess, something happened, but we ended up getting passion orange guava juice for the entire year, which is like, it's pog, that's what they call it in Hawaii, and it's like a huge thing, but we got it for the entire year, and I could not figure out why, and then afterward, we went back to milk and chocolate milk. But in California, and Isaac will like always talk about this, he talks about the milk in a bag, like it literally came in like, imagine like a plastic pouch that has no seal, right? So it's not like a Ziploc or anything like that. It's literally a milk in a bag, and you take a straw and you have to like stick it through to drink it. And I remember coming to California and I was like, what in the heck is this? And then Isaac was like, yeah, sometimes you would like puncture the bag too much and it would like go all the way through, so then you'd have milk everywhere. I was like, this just seems so unnecessary.
Also, how do you package milk in a bag?
I don't know. I don't get it. Did he say something? Hold on. Did you say something? Oh, you had to bite the corner, according to Isaac.
You had to bite the corner?
This was like some feral lunches, guys. Like, I'm so confused. Why would they allow children to have this? Also, this seems like very messy. Like,
at this point, you might as well just get a ladle, and as the kids walk by,
tell them to open
just
their
pour
mouth.
it in their mouth.
I do remember also in elementary school, one of our lunch people had a farm. So he would like take all of our leftover food and stuff, and he turned it into slop for the pigs.
I feel like that's illegal nowadays, but like...
Yeah, it definitely is. But I think back in the day, it was definitely...
You just do stuff. You had Frito pies and Cinnamon Toast Crunch and milk in a bag. Is that still how they serve milk in California to children?
I think so, because I you know what, I actually have to go and ask my brother. I'll ask my brother, because he actually went to elementary school in California. I did not. But my favorite... Did I ever say what my favorite lunch was in elementary school? No. It was corn chowder and ham sandwich. Or...
Together?
Yeah, so they would make like a ham sandwich, and it wasn't even like a bomb like ham sandwich. It was literally like bread and then ham inside, and then the other slice of bread. But it was like the dinner roll bread, and then you could like dip it into your soup. So it was like a soup and sandwich combination. But that was like my favorite, either that or the beef and bean burrito. Or our lunch lady was known for her spaghetti, and like she would have like fundraiser nights selling her spaghetti because it was so bomb. And it wasn't even just like the spaghetti; it was the lunch roll. That was the thing that was so good. Shout out to you, Mrs. Yanting. Still think about those garlic bread to this day. But yeah, so like that was when I was in elementary school. And then I got to middle school, and that's when I moved to the private school. And I was like, y'all been eating like this for how long? Like, I was just so impressed with the lunch. My favorite lunch there was the chicken karaage, which is like basically like fried, like Japanese fried chicken with rice, and then you'd have all your sides. Oh, so good. And then I moved to California and was like, why is there milk in a bag? Culture Shock.
I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. I can't. Just ladle it. That does sound like definitely. I wonder if it's just like, I don't know. It sounds like a mainland thing, but not even, because I had good lunches growing up. But I will say, I really, this is one of those few moments where I'm like, thanks, Obama, because...
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say.
After Homegirl decided that the lunches were not good, they became not good.
After she decided that they were not good for your health, all of a sudden we had these organic, but not even organic, because, schools can't afford organic. We had tasteless lunches is what I like to say. Because I remember Obama getting elected because that was my freshman year of high school. And I just remember thinking, wow, California does not season their food.
Like, at all. That was one of the things that I will say, like, when I think sometimes it kind of depends on who is actually like in the kitchen. And, some people I really think like try a little bit more. But I think also it depends on like I've learned now that in part it's the vendors that the school system uses.
Right.
And so I think they're moving to more like pre-packaged foods. And so there really is like less creativity
on their part
for the staff in terms of like what they're doing. I've realized that a lot of things are more just like steamed or boiled, like heated up essentially and then served, as opposed to like made food. And so I'm just like, is this really healthier, or like what is this?
I feel like the BPA from the plastic, all those things, like that has to be leaching into the food, right? But then, so now you're in the education field in an elementary school. Like, do you ever see what the kids are eating? Do they ever get Frito Pie Day?
Ain't no one having no Frito Pies ever. It's so sad. Kids don't even know what they're missing.
They don't.
It really makes me wonder if I ask them, like, do you know what a Frito pie even is?
Would they even know?
Would they even know? Or is that just like a relic for people that are now almost 30 and above?
It's really funny because we went to go play bingo, and that was one of the things on the concession stand was Frito pie.
I mean, it's pretty easy to make. It's just Fritos, chili, and cheese. Like, it's not complicated, but I guess I see why it would maybe not be the like healthiest option ever.
But it's so good.
I will say, when I don't know what happened, but well, no, I actually do know what happened. Our vendors changed, and so like the quality of our lunch changed. But when I first started working at my school, I did eat the lunch at least like once or twice a week, and had a relationship with the cafeteria manager, so that like when I dropped off my kids, she would call me over and be like, "Hey, we like made a vegetarian thing."
Aww.
Not like for me, but like
they had the option.
I think in the sense that like she was like, she knew and acknowledged that I was a vegetarian and was like, "Hey, like we have this for you." Or like sometimes would just like, I will say like the spinach that she made was really good. There were some like sides that were really good.
Yeah.
And so she would be kind of flexible in that like I might not have to get the main entree that whatever was being served that day, like hot dog, whatever. Like I wouldn't have to get that part. I could just like get a larger portion of the sides kind of thing. And so we had that. But if I'm being completely transparent, I don't know if I could make it through the lunches that they have
right now
nowadays. Because, coming back from the Frito pie days and the cinnamon toast days and, seeing the change over time, it's just hard to see like what, I mean, the kids know. They definitely have moments of just like, what is this?
Yeah. Aww.
And I'm looking like, that's a great question.
You are very valid in that question. Yeah, it's so interesting to me because I remember when I first started teaching, like I really wanted to just get like I just wanted an account at the school because I wanted to I just wanted to eat and, go back and do my work and things like that. And I just couldn't figure out the system. But then I also looked at the food and I was like, and the kids would come up and they're like, "Oh, the food is terrible. The food is this." My poor kids that were like, they said that this was chile relleno and this was not a chile relleno. And they're like, it was literally just not, it was a whole thing. And I remember going down and always looking and it was always just heck of carbs, and then if you had fifth period with the kids, you were gonna get a zonked out class because all they were feeding them was carbs and sugar. It was just not a recipe for success. And then now teaching it in, I guess it would be the equivalent of a private school. I eat lunch every day and it is so good. And, I've gotten to know the chefs and everyone. So, they choose the menus, they do all the things. So now I'm like, this is lit and it's cheaper than going out every day. So
also, I'm asking your sister about the milk thing. This is a California thing.
What did she say?
She said her coworkers remember when they went to school in Long Beach that, yes, the milk came in a bag and you put it flat on the table and you stab it with a straw.
Yeah. And then hopefully you don't stab your straw all the way through.
How does the milk get into the bag?
It's a production thing. We don't know. It just showed up in the bag.
I don't know. I have too many questions that just can't be answered.
I'm going to have to go find it for you.
The point is,
you can see it.
I would not eat lunch from the schools now. Also, I would not drink milk from a bag, no matter what it came from.
I feel so sorry for these children.
Also, why was it only ever white milk and chocolate milk? Why was there never strawberry milk?
That's more expensive. But I also feel like chocolate milk is very expensive. Like, maybe it was pulled.
Why was there so much chocolate milk?
I love chocolate milk. I still love chocolate milk to this day. If I wasn't lactose intolerant, I would probably still drink it, honestly.
Did your schools ever have, like, the milk options? So at one point, I think when our school was peak lunching, they had, like, the whole milk and the 2% and the chocolate.
Yeah, that was us too. And then I remember one time I think there was like, we did whole, skim, and chocolate. And then I remember one time not knowing the difference. And I said, oh, I want white milk. And they're like, yeah, whole or skim. And I said skim. And I was so sad.
When you're a kid and you've only known whole milk and you get skim milk that first time and you're just like, why is it water?
I was like, why am I drinking water? And then I was like, I think I got the wrong milk. And then they were like, oh yeah, I think you wanted 2% or whole, whatever the other option was. And I was like, why would anyone choose this willingly? Like, I'm confused.
I didn't understand 2% milk until that was the only option at school.
Right.
Because they were like, oh, too much fat in whole milk, so now you got to get that 2%. And I was like, why is this water? And why do you want me to eat my cereal with water? 2%?
Like, I don't understand. Oh, man. I just remember, breakfast was always, and it was so cheap. I do remember one time, though, so my mom sent me to school, and she was like, lunch is 75 cents. And this was, I think, the transition from first to second grade. So your lunch account, is usually not set up until the first week of school, because that's when you sign up, you put your money on your balance, whatever. She gave me 75 cents. But lunch had been increased that year to $1.25. So on the first day of school, I was already at a negative 50-cent balance. And I went home and I told my mom, and I was like, Mom, they said it's $1.25. And she goes, what? That's 50 cents more. She's like, back in my day, lunch was, I was like, okay, beside the point, Mom. I just want you to know that it was embarrassing.
Side note, so what I'm hearing is that you had to pay for lunch.
I did pay for lunch, yes.
Oh, I was a free lunch kid.
Yeah. We didn't get free lunch until I moved to California. And even then, it was such a big, not point of contention, but it was low-key a point of contention where I was like, we qualify for free lunch, right? And my parents were like, no, we're fine. We don't need it. But then at the same time, I was like, we should have qualified for free lunch because I was paying full price for all of the AP tests that I was taking as well. If you were eligible for free lunch, you were eligible for a waiver from the AP, from the College Board. And so there were so many things that I was like, see, had we just done the application, we could have, but your pride.
Saved all this money. Well, I don't know, but we qualified all the years. I think there might have been 1 year where we were on reduced lunch. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they were like, just kidding, free lunch again.
Yeah. And then in high school, I didn't eat lunch. I ate lunch at the cafeteria very rarely. I was more like a home lunch kid. I would bring whatever was leftovers the night before because my bio teacher had a microwave in her office or in her room, and she would let us eat in there and chill and heat up our food. And then anytime it was dissection week, we would have to go to the chemistry room, which doesn't seem any safer to eat in, but we did. And then that's where I met one of my future college roommates, not Nahan. I met my other roommate because she would also eat in that chemistry room.
I know you mostly ate not at school. I guess because, high school lunch gets kind of wild, and then you can bring your lunch. I know my high school had a lot more options because, elementary, middle, you go through the line and you get the food.
And it's the one line, yeah.
The lunch. Whereas high school, we had a salad line, and we had a pizza line, we had the burger line, and then you had more traditional lunch line.
I remember it being so my freshman year, my parents were like, oh, do you want to bring lunch or do you want to buy lunch? And I was like, oh, I'll buy lunch. Our lunch was, I think, only 40 minutes. But by the time I would get out of the line, I'd only have 20 minutes left. It was just, so I can still picture going into the cafeteria. So you had the cafeteria that was set up, and then you had the cafeteria seating, but you could eat anywhere because there was not enough room in the cafeteria. But around the school, because it was set up like an atrium, so it had it was outdoor for the most part, but your classes were on the indoor part of the hallways. So the outdoor part, each section had like a cart that was selling specific things. So they wouldn't sell what was in the cafeteria, but they would sell like the burritos, they would sell the chimichangas, the cookies, like things that were like heated up that were just easy to purchase there. So like when I first moved to California, I was like so overstimulated and overwhelmed that I like didn't know what to get first. And then second was like, I'm just like the whole situation was just too much for me. So then I started bringing home lunch. And then when Isaac and I started dating, then I started going more to like the, like where you have like the carts and stuff like that. And that's when I would get food from there. But yeah, it was almost too much for me. But yeah, it was wild. Did y'all have multiple lunches or only one lunch?
There were multiple lunches.
We only had one lunch.
Oh, like all the kids just went to lunch at the same time?
Yeah.
Seems like a safety hazard.
It was mass chaos all the time. And then because we lived in Huntington Beach, there was a seagull problem. The seagulls were so smart, they would know when it was lunchtime because...
You just hear the bell at a certain time of the day and you're there.
And then it was almost like, it was like a rite of passage to get pooped on by a seagull. I did get pooped on once.
That's wild.
It was terrible.
So then, did you have a open campus to where people were able to leave?
Yes.
Because my school said, no,
you
can't leave.
Really?
Once you're here, you're here. You park your car and then that's it. Now, unless you had connections to the security person who was then like, but pick me up something from Sonic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you stayed on campus.
That was Isaac. He was friends with like all the security guards. But they were also like these little old ladies. Like, they're not breaking up nothing. And they would just drive around in their golf carts. Yeah. So you could leave campus. I think it was a 11th and 12th grade privilege. So then across the street from the school, I don't know if you remember when you came to Huntington Beach, that like supermarket, like that whole area was open. And so like they got like really good business from our campus because we would be over there. So that was also kind of chaotic too. So it was like, depending on what your next period was, you didn't know if you're going to make it or not. And then it also depended on, are you going to be able to eat? So like my most common thing I would get though, if I were to go off campus was either a chicken and rice bowl, or I would go to the supermarket and go to the deli area and get half a pound of potato wedges and a pound of chicken nuggets.
Why are you getting bulk lunch? What in the bulk lunch?
Actually, no, I think I flipped that. It was a half a pound of chicken nuggets and a pound of French fries. That sounds more like it.
There's no way this was just for you.
No, I would share, but it was like, but also like the chicken tenders were like big. So like it like a half a pound of chicken tenders came out to like 3 or 4 pieces. And then like a pound of potato wedges came out to, a pound of potato wedges.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of a mess though, because you would stand in line and it would take you so long to get through. It was such a mess, honestly. And then I remember Isaac was never able to get off. And then one time he took his cousin's ID to try to get off and they got caught because they looked nothing alike. And then his cousin got his ID revoked. I was like, how are we going to try to fake ID to get you off?
That's a fake ID to get off of a high school campus. Like, what?
That was funny.
That's one of them good times.
Good
lunch
times.
Was wild. I can't imagine everyone being out.
Yeah, and that's
why the same
that's
time.
why whenever I like see like TV shows and they're like, oh, do you have A lunch or B lunch? I'm like, we had all the same lunch. Like that sounds like now as in like that I work in admin, I was like, that is a stupid idea. Like
genuinely to have the whole campus just kind of descend upon everyone.
Yeah.
No, we had 3 lunches at my school.
Wow. And you guys had much less students than we did, right? Like how many did you graduate with?
I don't know, like 300-ish.
I graduated with almost 800 kids. And that was in the senior class.
I don't know why they did that to you. That's wild.
Like that's 3,200 kids, right? Let's say that there's 800 kids per class. 3,200 kids on lunch. Least. That's why I could never get through on time.
Okay, so had you ever participated in a food fight?
No.
So sad.
I enjoyed my lunch. Why would I want to get into a food fight?
I know. And like I had also never been into a food fight except for, I want to say 2 years ago at my school, the kids got into a food fight.
What?
It was, I'd never heard of. You only ever see it in like movies, like Max Keebler. You see it in movies. Yes. And then like, all I know is like, they're calling everyone to the cafeteria.
Food fight!
And you're just like, is this real life?
Am I in a fever dream?
This really happened? Like, you decided to like trash the cafeteria because that's essentially what happened.
Okay, wait, then like, what happened? What was their consequence?
When I say I couldn't, I had to go. Because also was low-key kind of really amused at the creativity. But So I'm almost assured that they had to like
Clean up.
clean up the cafeteria, and then I'm pretty sure that like they had some intensive like seating changes, and like there was a lot of other stuff that came about. But I'm just like, you had a food fight
That's like core memory.
and didn't invite me. Nah, so it's just very like I've like never heard. I think what I will say was like one of the funniest moments. I feel like there are probably rules to food fights, but one of the kids was like, I got hit by an apple.
Oh no! You're only supposed to throw soft things. I thought.
Yeah, one of the kids didn't read the rule books. Obviously,
You hadn't seen the
Like,
Max
you know.
Keebler.
You obviously throw like pudding,
Like the slop.
applesauce, milk,
An apple. Poor baby.
even orange slices are
Oh, they're a little.
fine.
They're a little softer.
Bread, like spaghetti, not an apple.
I just like want to know the logistics. Like, was there like a team plan? Was it like they're like, hey, during a lunch today, I'm gonna throw my food. You're gonna yell food fight, and then it's gonna happen. Like, it was like a collective event that people had to have. Like,
I think this time it wasn't. From what I like ended up being, I think like some kids just like had a dispute, and then it was just everywhere all of a sudden.
No! So it was like they were getting into it. Probably threw their food at each other, and then everyone's like,
Hit
okay.
hit someone else.
Oh, no.
And then I think from there it just spread like wildfire. I was just like, put like an apple though.
The apple. Someone was feeling some type of way.
And also the school lunches now are so tiny, so I'm just like,
Y'all just
after 3 or 4 throws, what else
was there left?
What else was there? Because I don't know. But kids find a way. They will find a way.
That
So
is
it was.
hilarious.
It's the first food fight I've ever. That's the closest I've been to a real life food fight.
I'm sorry you didn't get to participate.
I definitely feel like because they showed it in a lot of the movies growing up, and I always wanted someone to start one growing up.
Oh, you were never going to be the starter?
I was never going to be the starter, but I was ready to throw that apple across the. No, I'm just kidding. Start across.
I knew exactly who I was trying to hit. Okay.
Oh my gosh! Any final thoughts that you want to add about school lunches?
10 out of 10. I love a good school lunch. I was just getting made fun of yesterday because I was going down. So I had a meeting and I was like, oh, can I leave my laptop here? I'm about to go eat lunch. And then the person I was with was like, oh yeah, you do like the Caesar's lunch because that's who provides our lunches right now. And I was like, I love Caesar's lunch. And I was like, I don't even think, like, I'm not even being funny. I'm doing a podcast episode on it tomorrow. Like, that's how much I love school lunch. I'm very passionate about school lunch. I'm passionate about eating it, serving it, everything that's ever been said about it. Yes, all the things. What about you?
I know that there are ways to have good food that's also good.
Yes, that's the part, right?
So it can be good for you and like actually have taste and flavor. And I just feel like we are on the like, it's good for you in air quotes, but like it's also gross and
Yeah.
no one actually wants to eat it. And then it's not healthy for kids to not eat because the food is so nasty.
Mm-hmm. Let's empower these like community gardens. I think that's what it comes down to, right? These community gardens, these like regulations and things like that to help them be able to serve.
Grow what you want to eat, grow what you can eat. Also, sometimes I wonder, as an adult who didn't have to eat the school lunch, I'm like, but what if like a kid was like an actual vegetarian?
Mm.
And the fact that y'all had to tell me like which days had vegetarian options, it just makes me wonder like,
if there was because students and families
dairy,
like that exist, right?
But I guess, I don't know. I guess there is a point where it's just like, at what point is that the school's responsibility? And at what point is it like, nope, this is like something that you have to deal with because of the fact that it's but I don't know. Public schools are weird because it seems like most of the time it's a school issue.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But I don't know. That's one to look up. I'd have to find out like at what point does it stop being a school issue? And it's just like, no.
I'm sure we learned about it in our legal class. I'm sure there's some kind of court case out there.
I was like, I'm sure there is, but I'm like, I don't know if school lunch is like, that's not the cute, sexy case that people really want to take on. They're just like, did you get that? Did you get the briefing for the school lunch case down in Minnesota? It's just like, no, I didn't, because I would rather do anything else.
I'd rather fight for any other school right.
Anything else. So no, I want them to get better. I would love to have more school lunches, but as it stands right now, I would say the state of school lunch is just not for me.
Oh, makes me sad. Yes. So public schools in America, do better.
Well, now it's time for our
rapid fire question.
Emma, what question did you bring today?
My question is, when you move, what is the first box you unpack?
Food.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that was not my first box that got unpacked. It's still not unpacked. Like, it just barely got unpacked. So we've been eating out. The first box that I unpack is the bedroom. I gotta be able to sleep.
I feel like that's not usually stuff that I put in a box.
Oh, you
like
just
the bed
bring it
frame
over?
and the mattress.
No, like the linens and stuff.
It's in a bag, and you just wash it at the old place, pack it up, bring it over.
Although I did, like, I felt like I was very, like, I hacked it out very well this time when I was moving. I packed a go bag. So I had, like, my shower stuff, I had my pajamas, I had the outfit I was going to work the following day, so I would at least give myself time to be able to come home.
Mm-hmm. Get the essentials going.
And unpack the correct bag. Interesting.
That makes sense. Nah, it's the kitchen for me.
What's your question for today?
Imagine you have $10 million.
Here we go. Uh-huh.
But you can only buy things that start with the letter of your first name.
Oh.
What are 2 to 3 things that you're like, these are some things that I would buy. Obviously, we're not going to spend all 10 million on the show. That's not rapid fire. But like 1 or 2 things that you could think of that you'd be like, I could buy that.
I was literally like, well, it looks like you're getting a lot of eggs.
That makes sense.
I could buy myself some eggs, but I also am allergic to eggs. So
could buy
here's
an egg factory.
An egg factory. I could buy 1 elephant.
I mean, like, yeah, but like...
Realistically, that doesn't... I could buy... Oh,
you could get some escargot.
I don't want escargot. I mean, I guess I could just to, like, flex and be like, yeah, I got escargot. I could buy an elementary school and put in better lunches.
I don't know if 10 million would get you an elementary school.
I don't know. Some of these schools be... Some of them are going...
Be out here.
E. Okay, you go. K.
First of all, that's not my first name. Because I would not go with that letter, because what could I buy besides like a Klondike bar?
Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, I guess lots of Krispy Kreme stock.
Yeah.
Stock in
there you
Krispy
go.
Kreme.
Stocks in the Krispy Kreme.
No, but I would definitely go with A, because...
Would you cheat and be like, oh, I could buy a computer?
Could you imagine? That would be perfect.
Oh, no, or do you actually have, like...
probably just something like Apple products, you know what I mean?
I see.
Nah, I would definitely be like, I would go with A and buy actually helpful things, like, and then as vague as possible, yes, like Apple products, and like buy myself a new pair of like AirPods. And AirPods actually just start with A.
Air Maxes. It was so funny because you said I would buy myself actually helpful products, which also starts with an A.
I'm just saying, like, that's a convenient letter to have.
It is.
E's not bad either.
It's not.
E's not that bad.
I just have to think about it. I just have to have a little...
There are definitely far more complex letters. K,
like X.
For example. X. Z.
At the beginning of the school year, I told the kids, I was like, turn to your neighbor, describe 1 word to describe how you hope this school year will go, only using the first letter of your name. And I have a student that starts with Z, and she's like, that's rude.
She wanted you to know that she was not feeling my question.
Sorry, but you try it.
But like, also,
be creative.
What'd you come up with?
It was so funny.
Oh, she did her best. How rude. That was rude, miss. Well, miss, where can people find the podcast?
You can find our podcast on Facebook and Instagram at The Tea with Crema. If you'd like to buy us a cup of tea, you can also Venmo us at The Tea with Crema. You can stream all of our previous episodes on your favorite streaming platforms. We hope to see you next time. Bye!